So, I've been a Mortal Kombat fan most of my life, but I just really haven't been able to get into the newer games. And it's just like kind of really dawned on me. I've never been a fighting game guy. I just love Mortal Kombat for the lore and the characters, but it's like I've been yearning for Conquest to come back. I've been wanting Shaolin monks to come back, and now Head Boon has kind of teased it with his poll of which one you want remastered first, Mortal Kombat 9 or Shaolin monks. That's really awesome. And and hopefully they do both. And of course, Shaolin monks comes first. I really hope. I've been wanting that game for a while. I even thought about playing on the emulator recently until I heard that, and I'm like, yes, maybe we'll get that. But the thing is, I've always wanted a Mortal Kombat RPG. I've always wanted, or a beat 'em up. Like basically, Shaolin Monks is that. Like it's basically a Mortal Kombat RPG, very adventure focused, and that's what I want more of. It's just like I'm not a fighting game guy. I lose interest pretty quickly. In the towers mode, I don't. It's just too repetitive for me. Now, growing up, I was more into it a little bit. Maybe it's just the 2D one. Maybe I was more into the 3D, but really, no. And I played the old ones on emulator, and it's like they're okay, but the CPU's so cheap, and they mirror your actions. They defend against your actions. They read your inputs anyway, and it's just so annoying. But I've always been really fascinated with Mortal Kombat. It's to the point where I've seen not all three. I've seen three out of four Mortal Kombat movies in theaters. I've seen the new one, which I really liked, except for the few things in the movie, which is like how Shao Kahn, the fight with Shao Kahn at the end, and who does it. I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but I don't like the direction of that. It's a little woke for me. But other than a few issues and Raiden and all that, the look of the characters, and I feel like the actors really just martial artists that just happen to be look enough like the character or good enough to where they just cast them as that instead of finding the perfect actor to play them. Um, that's my issues with Mortal Kombat 2, but it's a good movie. It's about a 9 out of 10, honestly. It's probably more of an 8. I'll probably over the years it'll probably go down. Mortal Kombat 2021 also went down over the years, but I still enjoy that movie too. It's just a little cringe with it feels very Power Rangers when it comes to the powers, but the way they get the powers is like all of a sudden, and it's like, yeah, I got a laser eye. Ooh, it's just like very childish Power Rangers level, Pokemon level um, action, and it just doesn't vibe for me. And I'm a guy who loves Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation like 3 or 4 times in theaters and rented it from the video store. I was obsessed with Annihilation. I actually preferred it over 1995. So that's kind of my history with Mortal Kombat. I've always been in the movies. I even used to rent the cartoon. I never watched the Conquest show. I wish I did. I've seen it on TV, but it was always on late. I heard it was on after Nitro, so it was very late. It was like, back then I was in school, of course. I was a kid, so I'm guessing it was hard to watch. But I always wanted to, and I never got around to it. Legacy, I never really finished it. I found it kind of boring after a while. It kind of got repetitive, and I didn't like the look of the Scorpion and Sub Zero or something about it. I don't think I like the look of Raiden or something like that. Similar to the way I feel about Mortal Kombat 2021 and Mortal Kombat 2. Um, but yeah, it's probably even worse with the look of Scorpion in 2021. Even though I love the actor who plays Scorpion, he's one of my favorite Japanese actors or whatever he is. I like him in Rush Hour 3, and I think I've seen him in one other thing, but I always liked the look of the actor and the way he portrays himself. But yeah, I've always been super fascinated. I've been going down the rabbit hole on YouTube lately, watching all these Mortal Kombat videos, and it's just like it's weird how fascinated I am with Mortal Kombat to this day, and I've been into Mortal Kombat longer than I've been into Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, most of the things that I love most. But yet, Mortal Kombat is just like very low on the me playing the games. I just don't care about the games. But that's just because I'm not a fighting game fan, and that's an unfortunate part. And I just feel like they have such potential to really expand. You know, expand and just appeal to more types of fans. Because Mortal Kombat is a niche thing, but the characters are obviously bigger than the games because the movies sold a certain amount, probably more. I would say more than the games do, because the games sell about 8 million, 4 to 8 million. Well, at least fighting games wise, is around 4 to 8 million. That those are the fighting game audience, and the movie made more than that. So obviously, more people are interested in Mortal Kombat as an IP altogether than being into fighting games itself. And I think that is true. I think that shows you have potential to really be bigger than you are. Now, 8 million is still a really good number. A lot of people say it's a bad number. I'm like, no. I mean, RPGs can sell about 3 or 4 million. Uh, that's on the lower end scale, but still, like the Dragon Quest remasters, Final Fantasy 16, all sold about 3 to 4 million. Of course, the difference between those two games is the budget, insane budget. So one would be a flop, one wouldn't be, and that would because it would cost a lot less money to make a Dragon Quest remaster than a Final Fantasy 16. And you already know how I feel about Final Fantasy 16 if you watch my channel. I mean, nobody asked for a DMC to be in Final Fantasy. We want fucking Final Fantasy. That's what we want. But anyways, I want my turn-based back, or at least the hybrid. I'll take the 7 hybrid, but I would still prefer like turn-based. And I can't wait to play Expedition 33. I can't wait to see what that hype's about. I want to play Baldur's Gate. These, Persona was good or hyped or popular, I should say. Dragon Quest 11, Dragon Quest remasters. So much evidence shows. I'm getting into side rant. I just realized about turn-based RPGs. All right, back to Mortal Kombat. All right, but yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. I want Mortal Kombat to come back. Deception is my second favorite after Shaolin Monks, is because Conquest mode was so fun. I loved it a little, about as much as Shaolin Monks as a whole. It's just I feel like it would be really hard to go back to because I remember how empty it was. But it was a lot easier to deal with the lack of content in the world. The lack of furniture and stuff. There was a lot of empty rooms. Cringe voice acting, if I can, I don't remember that well. But I just remember, the graphics really were bad even then. But I would love it to be remade. At least that mode itself being remade, or remaster. A good remaster could work, I think. But that mode alone is what I want back. I want chess combat. I want puzzle combat, and I want motor combat. If I had it my way, they would just remake all 3 of the 3D realm or 3D era Mortal Kombats. The thing is about the Deadly Alliance, it's basically not even really a full game. I mean, a lot of people, fighting game fans, treat it like a full game. I don't. I treat it like you could just put that as a cutscene in a tower, just one tower that's dedicated to Deadly Alliance, and call it a day. You don't have to limit the roster to just Deadly Alliance. That's what a lot of people, and there's certain fighting mechanics that's only in Deadly Alliance and not in Deception, I think. But as a casual fan, I don't give a damn. What I would do, recreate Mortal Kombat Armageddon, have that roster, remaster it, of course, or remake it, and then add all the modes from Deception, add a tower and a cutscene from Deadly Alliance, and have the entire game just be playable with only the characters from that era. You know, you can only play as certain characters in that. I would have a tower for every single Mortal Kombat, because that's really all it is. You can have, you don't have to make some big ass game. You could just have a tower dedicated to these are the characters, and have a little lore, maybe a little cutscene. I'm sure it don't cost that much to make a slideshow cutscene, which is most of them. It's not like a full on cutscene, but just have like Mortal Kombat 1 tower, Mortal Kombat 2 tower, Mortal Kombat 3 tower, Mortal Kombat 4 tower, and then Deadly Alliance, and then you'll have Conquest mode, and also the tower from Deception, and then Armageddon. You'll have that Conquest mode too, where you play as Taven instead of Shujinko. But yeah, what do you guys think? I really want Mortal Kombat RPG, beat 'em up, whatever, adventure game, and I want multiple, collectibles, not collectibles, but basically Zelda. You find stuff, you get stronger, unlock lore, unlocks, cutscenes and stuff, yada yada yada. I don't really care about the co-op part because, even though I played it co-op with my friend back in the day, since I moved, it probably won't happen. I do love co-op games though. I would keep the co-op part in there. It's just I want it to be fun as a single player. So yeah. All right, guys. Later.